Hi guys, I'm Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. So today I just want to give an introduction to chemistry. Chemistry is an interesting subject. Chemistry is lively. There's life in chemistry. Chemistry is the study of nature. Chemistry is a branch of science that deals with the study of the composition, the properties, and the use of matter. And what is matter? Matter is anything that has mass and occupy space. Yes, examples of matter: the air we breathe in, the water we drink, objects around us, even you yourself. They are an example of what? Matter. So chemistry has to do with the study of matter. Everything around us, in fact, everything around us, they are all product of chemistry, because everything around us has to do with matter. So everything around us, they are all product of chemistry. The building you are staying in is made with what? Cement, which is a product of chemistry. The paint for painting our buildings, they're all product of chemistry. The drugs we take, they are product of chemistry. Even ladies, what they use to beautify themselves, they use chemistry, product of chemistry. The lip gloss, the nail polishes, the artificial hair, even the clothes we put on, they are all product of chemistry. We talk about polyesters, we talk about polyamide, which are nylon, Kevlar, they are all product of chemistry. So chemistry even covers our nakedness. Even man, human being, man is a product of chemistry. Now, when God was about to create man, Adam, who was the first man, was created out of the dust of the earth, which is sand, and sand is silicon. And when God molded man, a man was just an inanimate object on the floor, and God looked at man and decided to breathe into man the breath of life, which is oxygen, and man became a living being. So you can see that even man is a product of what? It's a product of chemistry. Those of us that are Christians, I can tell you that the first miracle that Jesus performed was turning water into what? Into wine. That is a chemical reaction. So I might just assume that maybe he used the knowledge of chemistry, to perform the first miracle. Because Jesus is omniscience, is all-knowing. So I believe that he must have used the knowledge of chemistry to what? To perform the first miracle by turning water into wine, because to turn water into wine is a chemical reaction. For those of us who are chemistry students, there is organic chemistry, which is hydration of what? Hydration of ethane. So chemistry is very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting. It's all about what? It's all about life. So I just want to give it to introduction to A-level chemistry, and I just want to take an overview of the syllabus. Please, I want us to listen attentively so that you get a grasp of what what you're intending to what you're intending to embark on. So please, I want us to listen attentively and, in fact, enjoy your stay in our great tutorial college. So there are 3 routes for Cambridge International AS and A-level chemistry. If you are coming for A-level chemistry, we'll have the route 1. The first route is AS level only. So candidates take all the AS component in the same exam series. So you have to take paper 1, paper 2, and paper 3. So that is just it for AS, advanced subsidiary. You have to take paper 1, 2, and 3. Then the next route is the A level, which is staged over 2 years. The first one is year 1 AS level. Then the second is year 2 complete A level. So you have to take for AS level, you have to take paper 1, paper 2, and paper 3. Then you come back the next year to come and take just paper 4 and paper 5. Then the last route, which is the third route, is the A level. So candidates take all components in the exam in the same exam series. So you have to take all the components. You have to take both paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, and paper 5. So there are 3 routes for those of us who are coming forward. Cambridge International AS and A-level chemistry. It's either you go through route 1, where you do your advanced subsidiary only, or you go to route 2, where you take your complete A-level, you take the AS and you take the A2, then or you go for route 3, which is the complete A-level, that you take it for for just one section, and you have to write all the components: paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and paper 4, and paper 5. So waiting for assessment objectives. Now, the approximate weighting allocated to each of the assessment objectives are summarized below. The word ALS means what? Assessment objectives. So assessment objectives as a percentage of each qualification. We have assessment objective 1, which is knowledge and understanding. In AS, it weighs 40%, while in A level, which is accelerated, it weighs 40%. Assessment objective 2, which is handling, applying, and evaluating information. In AS, which is advanced subsidiary, it weighs 40%, and in A level, it weighs 40%. Assessment objective 3, which is experimental skills and investigations that have to do with practicals. In AS, it weighs 20%, and in A level, it weighs what? 20%. So overall, total is what? 40 what? Total is 100 what? 100%, which is 40 plus 40 plus 20, which is equal to what? 100 what percent, both in AS and what? And in A levels. As you can see, each of the assessment objectives is tested in each paper. So assessment objective as a percentage of each component, like assessment objective 1, which is knowledge and understanding. In paper 1, you'll be tested 50% of assessment objectives. In paper 2, it is what? 50%. In paper 3, knowledge and understanding is not tested. In paper 4, you'll be tested 50% of what? Knowledge and understanding, while in paper 5, as knowledge and understanding is not tested. So please, I want us to understand this thing very, very well, because it will go a long way to help. Knowledge and understanding is only tested in paper 1, paper 2, and paper 4. And it has to do with what? 50, 50, 50. The percentage is 50, 50, 50. Now let's go to assessment objective 2. Assessment objective 2, which is handling, applying, and evaluating what? Information. It is tested also in paper 1, 2, and 4. In paper 1, 50% of handling, applying, and evaluating information is tested. In paper 2, 50% is tested. In paper 3, 0% is tested. In paper 4, 50% is tested. And in paper 5, 0% is what? Tested. So handling, applying, and evaluating information is only tested in paper 1, paper 2, and paper 4. Then, now let's go back to assessment objective 3, which is experimental skills and investigation. I think it has to do with practical. It's only tested in paper 3 and in paper 5. Paper 3 and paper 5. In paper 1, it is 0%, paper 2 is 0%, paper 3 is 100%, paper 4 is 0%, and paper 5 is what? 100%. So in paper 3 and paper 5, it is what? 100%, which is experimental skills and what? And investigation. So total in paper 1 is 100%, total in paper 2 100%, total in paper 3 100%, paper 4 100%, and paper 5 is what? 100%. So each of the assessment objectives is tested in each of the papers. So we have to understand this. Now we are looking at the assessment objectives. We are going to take the assessment objectives one by one. Now we are starting with assessment objective 1, which is knowledge and understanding. Candidates should be able to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of scientific phenomena, facts, laws, definitions, concepts, and theories. Yes, it's very, very important. Each of the students should be able to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of the scientific facts, scientific phenomena, facts, laws, definitions, concepts, and theories, scientific vocabulary, terminology, conventions, including symbols, quantities, and units. Then scientific instruments and apparatus, including technique of operation and aspect of safety. Yeah, they should be able to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of that. Then scientific quantities and their determination. Then scientific and technological applications with the social, economic, and environmental implication. Then reason explanation for phenomena, patterns, and relationship. So these are the objectives, that has to do with knowledge and understanding, which is assessment objective 1. Students should be able to demonstrate knowledge of the following point. Is very, very very important. Now this assessment objective 2, which is handling, applying, and evaluating information. Candidates should be able to handle, apply and evaluate information in words or using other forms of what? Presentation. Example, symbols, graphical, or numerical. And it's tested in paper 1, in paper 2, and paper 4. So please, I want us to take note of that. Candidates should be able to locate, select, organize, and present information from a variety of sources. Candidates should be able to translate information from one form to another, manipulate numerical data and other data, use information to identify patterns, report trends and draw conclusions, give reasoned explanation for phenomena, patterns and relationship, make predictions and construct arguments to support hypothesis, make sense of new situations, evaluate hypothesis, demonstrate an awareness of the limitations of chemical theories and models, then solve problems. So this has to do with assessment objective 2, which is handling, applying, and evaluating evaluating information. Just as I say, it will be tested in paper 1, it will be tested in paper 2, and it will be tested in paper 1, in paper 4. So please, I want you to have a knowledge of this, and it will go a long way to help. So this assessment objective 3, which is experimental skills and investigations, is usually tested in paper 1, paper 3, and paper 5, and it has to do with practicals. So this is where you develop your practical skills. Now, candidates should be able to plan experiments and investigations. Yes, it's very, very important. Be able to plan experiments and investigations, collect, record, and present observations, measurements, and estimates. Then analyze and interpret experimental data to reach conclusions. Evaluate methods and quality of experimental data and suggest improvements to experiment. Just as I said, it is tested in paper 3 and in paper 5. Paper 3, which is the practical, which is the main practical, and paper 5, which is planning, analysis, and evaluation. So please, you have to take note of that is very, very important. So we are looking at the assessment overview for each of the papers. With paper 1, which is the multiple choice questions, the multiple choice, it takes 1 hour 15 minutes. So you have 40 questions and 40 marks. So the total is 40 marks. And the questions are based on on the AS level syllabus content. Yeah, they won't ask you questions outside the AS level syllabus content. And paper 1, if you are doing AS, which is advanced subsidiary, it takes 31% of your total score. Then if you are doing accelerated, which is A level, it takes 15.5% of your total score. So it's very, very important. So because you have to know how you are graded. So paper 1 takes 31% for AS students, while for accelerated students, which is A level student, it takes 15.5%. So we have to understand this very well. So now for paper 2, which is the AS level structured questions, it takes 1 hour 15 minutes, total of 60 marks, and the questions are structured questions, which are theoretical questions. Structured questions. Questions are based on the AS level syllabus content as usual. Then for AS student, which is advanced subsidiary, it will take 46% of the total score. Then for A level student, it will take 23% of the total score. So this takes a greater percentage of your total score for AS students, and also for A level students. So paper 2 is very, very important. Each of the papers, all the papers are important, but paper 2 takes a greater percentage of greater percentage of the total score for advanced subsidiary, which are the AS level students. So please, I want us to take note of this. Very, very important as you progress. So still on assessment overview, this is paper 3, which is advanced practical skills. It takes 2 hours and it's 40 marks. It involves practical work and structured questions. Yes, it will be hands-on, and also you have to deal with theoretical questions. You have to deal with theoretical questions. So it is practical work and structured questions. Now, questions are based on the experimental skills in the practical assessment section of the syllabus. It has to do with the experimental skills in the practical assessment section of the syllabus, and it is 23% of the AS level. If you are doing advanced subsidiary, which is AS, it will take the preparatory will take 23% of the total score for the accelerated student, which is the A-level students, which are the A-level students, it will take what 11.5% of what of the total score. So as you can see, it is very, very what important. So please, I want us to take note of this and put in more work on it. So this paper 4, still on assessment overview. So we are looking at paper 4, which is the A-level structured questions, and it takes 2 hours, and it's 100 marks in total. So the questions are basically structured questions, which are theoretical questions. So questions are based on the A-level syllabus content. So your knowledge of material from the AS level syllabus content will be required. I think I have to emphasize this. Knowledge of material from the AS level syllabus content will be what will be required. So please, I want us to take note of this. And it takes 8.5% of your total score, 38.5% of the A level. So it takes a greater percentage of your total score if you are doing the full complete A level. So please, I want us to take note of this. And it's very, very important. So this is paper 5, which is planning, analysis, and evaluation. And it takes 1 hour, 15 minutes. And it's 30 marks in total. So questions based on the experimental skills of planning, analysis, and evaluation. Yes, the questions will be based on the experimental skills of planning, analysis, and evaluation. So it's very, very important. So the context of the questions may be outside the syllabus content. Yes, there are situations whereby the content of the questions may be outside the syllabus content, but the information you need to deal with such questions will be provided on the question paper in paper 5, which is planning, analysis, and evaluation. So you don't need to be afraid for the fact that the context of the questions may be outside the syllabus content. No, you'll be properly guided. Every information you need to handle such a question that is outside the syllabus content will be provided, will be given to you. So I'm speaking to you as a teacher, and I'm speaking to you from experience. So there's no cause for alarm. And it takes 11.5% of your total score. It takes 11.5% of the A-level content. So it takes 11.5% of your total score. So please, I want us to take note of this because it is very, very important. So this is content overview. So we just want to take an overview of the entire content for AS level subject content. Candidate for Cambridge International AS level chemistry will be studying the following topics. Physical chemistry, we'll talk about atomic structure. We'll be looking at atomic structure. We'll be looking at atoms, molecules, and stoichiometry. We'll be looking at chemical bonding, of which these are topics we are very, very familiar with, but we'll just be taking it a little bit above what you've done in A level, O level, I mean to say, which is a higher version of what you've done in O level. So because this is A level, then we'll be looking at states of matter, solid, liquid, gas, and the rest, and the properties of arrangement of particles in solid, liquid, and gas. We'll be looking at chemical energetics, talking about enthalpy changes of reaction. We'll be looking at electrochemistry. We'll talk about electrolysis. We'll talk about electrochemical cell and the rest. Then we'll be looking at chemical equilibrium. We'll be talking about Le Chatelier's principle. We'll be talking about factors that affect chemical system equilibrium. Then we'll be looking at reaction kinetics. We'll be talking about rate of reaction, factors affecting rate of reaction, and the rest. So it's as simple as as ABC. It's just an overview of what you've done it's just a little bit advanced of what you've done in O level. So we'll be taking it from the perspective of A level. So these are under what are the topics under physical chemistry. So still on content overview, for inorganic chemistry, we'll be looking at the periodic table. We'll be looking at chemical periodicity. Then we'll be talking about group 2 elements, which are the alkaline earth metals, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. Then we'll be looking at group 17, which are the halogens, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. Then we'll look at nitrogen and sulfur, reactions of nitrogen and reactions of sulfur. So this is what we'll be looking at under inorganic chemistry. So for organic chemistry, we'll be looking at an introduction to AS level organic chemistry, introduction to chemistry. We'll be talking about the hydrocarbons, which are compounds of carbon and hydrogen. We'll be looking at the halogen compounds, which are the halogenoalkanes. We'll be looking at the hydroxy compounds, which are the alcohols, Then we're looking at carbonic compounds, which are the aldehydes and the ketones. Then we'll be looking at the carboxylic acid and the derivative of carboxylic acid. They'll be looking at nitrogen compounds, which are compounds of nitrogen, the amine, the amino acid, and the rest. We'll be looking at polymerization. We'll be talking about addition and condensation polymerization. Then we'll be looking at organic what? Organic synthesis. After we should go to what? Analysis, which is analytical chemistry. We'll be talking about analytical technique. And for AS, we'll be looking at mass spectrometry as an analytical what? Technique in determination of what? The relative atomic masses of what? Elements and the relative molecular masses of what? Compound, and the discovery of what? Isotopes. So still on content overview for A-level subject content. We just finished that of AS level subject content. So candidate for Cambridge International A-level chemistry, study the AS topics and the following topics, which are for what? Maybe for those of you coming for A2 or those of you doing accelerated. So this is the part, this is the physical chemistry aspect of the topics you'll be treating. We talk about chemical energetics, we talk about enthalpy and the rest. We'll talk about electrochemistry, which is electrolysis, electrochemical cell, and the rest. We'll talk about chemical equilibria, ionic equilibria, and the rest. Then we'll talk about reaction kinetics. We'll talk about rate of reaction, first order reaction, second order reaction, rate determining steps. Then for inorganic chemistry, we'll also be looking at group 2, which are the alkaline earth metals. Then we'll be looking at the transition elements, that is the chemistry of the transition elements. So these are the areas we'll be looking at when it comes to physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry. So still on content overview, for organic chemistry, we'll be looking at an introduction to A-level organic chemistry, which is introduction to chemistry in general. We're looking at hydrocarbons, which are basically compounds of carbon and hydrogen. Then we'll look at halogenoalkanes, which are halogen compounds. Then we're looking at hydroxy compounds, generally, which are the alcohols. We'll be looking at the carboxylic acid and the derivatives. We'll be looking at nitrogen compounds. So we'll talk about, amines, amino acid, and the rest. Look about polymerization. We'll talk about condensation polymerization and addition polymerization. We'll be looking at organic synthesis. Then under analysis, we'll be looking at analytical technique, where we deal with what? Infrared spectroscopy, where we deal with nuclear magnetic resonance, where we deal with mass spectrometry, under what? Under analytical techniques. Then we'll look at A-level candidates also study practicals. Yes, A-level candidates will also do the practical aspect. So for this is just a general content overview for the A-level chemistry. So that is that. Now we are looking at command words. This aspect is very, very important because it determines the success of any candidate. How far a student will go depends on his or her understanding of what command words, and it's very, very important. The grade the student will score has to do with what his understanding of what command words. At times, most students don't do very, very well because they find it difficult to answer questions, and the reason is because they don't understand what command words. Each subject have its own command words. Now, what are command words? Command words and their meanings help candidates know what is expected from them in the exam. So the table below include what command words used in the assessment for this syllabus. Now the use of the command word will relate to the subject content, yes. For chemistry, it has its own command words. For physics, for biology, and the rest. Now let's start. The first one is analyze. What it means is that when we say analyze, it means to examine in detail, to show meaning, identify elements, and the relationship between them. Then calculate. It means to work out from given facts, figures, or information. Then compare. Compare means identify or comment on on similarities or differences. Then consider. Consider simply means review and respond to given information. Contrast means to identify or comment on differences. So identify is to comment on differences. Then deduce. It means conclude from available information. Just make your conclusion from available information. Then define. Define simply means give precise meaning. Then demonstrate means to show or give an example. So to describe means to state the point of a topic or give characteristic and main features. Then determine, establish an answer using the information that is available. Discuss means to write about issues or topics in depth in a structured way. Then we'll talk about to evaluate means to judge or calculate the quality, importance, amount, or value of something. To examine means to investigate closely in detail. Then to explain means set out purposes or reasons, make the relationship between things evident, provide why or how, and support with relevant evidence. Then give means produce an answer from a given source or recall or memory. So it's very, very important. Identify, it means to name, select, or recognize. Justify, support a case with evidence or argument. Predict, suggest what may happen based on available information. Show that, provide structured evidence that leads to a given result. Sketch, just make a simple drawing showing the key features. State, express in clear terms, just to state means to express what in clear terms. Then suggest, apply knowledge and understanding to situations where there are a range of valid responses in order to make proposal or put forward considerations. So this is a general overview of the chemistry syllabus. Please just go through it attentively, listen to it, make sure you get a knowledge of everything you're expected to do. Is very, very important. So once more, I'm Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always there for you. I'm always available. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Geometry. I'm Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. You can reach me any day, anytime. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. And you can share with your colleagues who are doing A-level chemistry. So please, I want you to just follow the rules and regulations. And at the end of the day, success will be your story. So please, listen to it attentively from the beginning till the end. It will give you detailed information of what you need to know as a student who is taking chemistry A-level, whether AS or A2, or you're running the accelerated program. Thank you for listening. I'm Mr. Joe, your chemistry teacher. Mr. Joe, your chemistry teacher.